Sometimes people say to me, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, oh, your job must be so boring. All you do is like numbers and debt. Whereas to me, our job is about the people and the stories and their businesses and what's behind it. The numbers and the debt are sort of secondary.
It's quite a good job in that respect because if I don't want to tell someone about it, I just say tax, and they're like, say no more. Enough said. Um,
Yeah, and I think that's why for us it is really about helping people, and it's not just about the numbers. But there's so much that goes on, I think, behind the curtain in people's lives that lead to these debts, and that's the things that we're talking to people about, and also talking to the ATO about in these arrangements, which I suppose leads us to another matter that you worked on recently, which related to a whole heap of cows dying. Did you want to give us a little bit of a background of the story in that matter?
yeah. Oh, yeah. That was heartbreaking, really. And it was quite, I've
Yeah.
come from a farm anyway, so it was a bit of a sort of nice personal one for me to get involved in. But yeah, I mean, sort of high level, they just obviously with droughts that have been going on in Australia for however long they were going on for, and it was just unsustainable, and yeah, the cows are dying, and it was all a bit horrible, really. And just before the rains came, the banks stopped giving them money, and they ended up having to sell all the cattle, and that came with its sort of tax implications of the money they gained from that. Um, but yeah, just another sort of really honest, genuine client who does absolutely everything they can to try and address the debt as quickly as possible. And they borrowed money off some high interest lender, and yeah, had paid that debt back. So they ended up just left with the interest charges, which thankfully we were able to come in and get knocked off, and yeah, give them a nice little bit of payback after all their hard work and heartbreak. So yeah, that was really nice.
And I think some of the figures in that one, I think from memory, they borrowed at around 20%. And as you mentioned, they'd paid the full ATO debt off. And what we were looking at is they'd already paid the interest. The
Mm.
interest was a significant amount. It was about 250,000. And our task was an accountant had contacted us on whether or not they'd already been denied. They'd tried to get it back. They'd
Mm.
been denied, and an accountant contacted us because the 20% on that 250,000 was huge, and to see whether or not we would be able to do a successful application, even though they'd paid the interest, to then get it back. Which we were able to do, so they could then pay off that high interest loan. They still had a portion of the loan for the remainder of the debt, but the business, it's been raining, and the business was back on track. So a lot of these businesses, both of these examples, are viable businesses. They do need the time, as you mentioned. They need a bit of breathing space. And I really liked how you talked about that bridge. So it's a bit like a bridge between something that's gone wrong or something that's gone bad that wasn't anticipated for. It's not a bad business. They're not going to go under. They don't necessarily need an event of insolvency, but they do need help in moving forward.
Yeah, and that's really the obviously, like we were saying, there's no real profile to a client, which is quite a sort of interesting thing about the job because everyone and
Yeah.
every business pays tax, so anyone could accrue a tax debt in that way. But I think, yeah, it's nice when someone comes with a somewhere that they want to be, and you can help them build towards there rather than just a steady decline. Which there's also merit in that if you can buy someone time to get their ducks in a row um, and yeah, and make the decisions that need to be made, whether they're easy or hard decisions. So yeah, just to be able to sort of achieve someone's objectives in the sort of short or long term is what we do. And I think you touched on sort of perhaps accountants not getting the interest or the payment plans. So I think a lot of that just comes from sort of us doing this all the time and just understanding what the ATO is looking for, what the parameters are,
Yeah, huge.
how to present that to
Yeah.
them, just packaging it up in the right way, and yeah, just getting the outcome.